Rules Committee will come to order. We have Gene, and Bob will ask you to sit in for Mr. Waits.
I will.
And myself, Dan Tarwater. Today we were going to have a discussion on rules and procedures for responding to open records request. And I have the resolution that we had passed from before. And Jay, do you have a copy of that also?
Yes, it's actually Chapter 12 of the Code.
Chapter 12 of the Code.
And I distributed that, I think, to the members of the committee perhaps after Monday's legislative meeting. If anybody didn't get one, I can make sure that you get it. Gene, did you get one?
I didn't bring mine with me.
Okay. And I have a copy here with me, Mr.
All right,
Chairman.
that'll be good.
Okay. I am...
And I believe Mr. Rucker also distributed a memo with some thoughts in it, perhaps last week or at the beginning of this week.
Mm-hmm. What we wanted to look at, from the standpoint of the Rules Committee, was the first part of that is all fine, where it designates different departments to be the keeper of the records. It designates for the legislature is the clerk of the legislature is the official keeper of the records. And we seem to be getting a lot of requests for different materials, on a daily basis. And this was something that was done years ago. For example, the cost of reprinting a document is 10 cents. Well, that might be fair to a point if the only thing that you were doing was making a copy. But in actuality, what is having to happen is those have to be searched. They have to be found. They have to be then cleared. And then they're given out. So when I had Mary Jo, and she should be in here in just a moment to testify on the other counties, other cities, what the cost of reprinting is. And typically, I believe it's $1 or $2 for a page.
Really?
Also because what we're running into is more and more time is being spent, to the point where they may even have to just hire somebody just to get documents and to handle the request. And that's not really what we want. But we do have to compensate the people for their time so that they can go back into the budget. Thank you. And Mary Jo is here.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Yes. No, I have a vacation day tomorrow.
We're talking about Chapter 12. And you're the custodial for the records for the legislature.
Correct. We've been doing some research, and I have submitted to the committee what we found so far. First of all, I put in your packets, the committee's packets, copies of State Statute Section 610, which deals with the fees for copying public records.
Did we get a packet distributed?
No, I'm sorry. I made it for the committee, but I can make you extra copies. It's not a problem.
Well, Mr. Burnett will make sure that you get it too.
Yeah, I'll get it. And also, along with that, I've included some price lists from the media library, what their charges are, just for the committee to take a look at. And also in the packet, just to let you know, I contacted Millie Crossland, who is the city clerk for the city of Kansas City, to ask them how they handled requests for videos of their meetings. And they have a streaming video archive on their website. And so anyone who wants that can do it via their web. So that might be something that we look at in the future. And I put down their website if you guys want to take a look at that. It is a pretty slick operation that they have. And again, it just cuts out the clerk's office from even having to be involved.
A question
How long
for
do
you.
they keep those on the website?
They have theirs for several years back.
Oh, really?
You can click on each committee and see.
Yeah, they have committee as well as the city council meetings, both.
How boring.
A question for you, Mary Jo, then. What if someone then requested a copy of a video itself? What do they do there?
They don't. They just tell them to go to the website.
Okay.
Yes, she said they don't, any requests like that, they just refer them to the website. So that's all that I have so far. I've also included a request for research form that other entities use. I've marked it sample only, just something for you all to take a look at and maybe review or, and that's it. I will continue to gather information and get it to you as I receive it.
What's your turnaround time for hard copies?
Our turnaround time?
No. Well, ours and the city's.
City does not make videotapes for
No, no.
sale. Oh,
Piece of paper.
I'm sorry.
Someone requested a document
Someone requested a document from my office.
from the city.
And the city. What's the turnaround time?
She didn't say.
Did you find out?
I will. Oh, also, something interesting too that Millie said they do. In addition to charging for their copies and also certification, which we have the same charges as they do on those two items, they charge $3.50 per minute for staff time. And the way that she came up with that was to take all of her staff's salaries, get an average, and then figure it out, an average per minute. And so if people are doing research in her office, they keep track of their time, and then whoever. And this practice is also used in Clay County as well. So when people make requests, they're not only charged for the copies or the certification, they're also charged for however much time staff is working on that project.
And that's what you mean by research.
Correct.
If somebody asks for a document, it's research to go find it.
Right. And they keep
it's
track of
charged
their
for that
time.
And there's charge for the copy.
Correct.
That probably slows down the request a little bit.
So I will get with her and ask her.
I have one question.
Yes.
Would it be possible eventually in the future we'll have to hire a person to do this on a permanent base, full time?
I
Are
guess.
the requests that great?
It would depend on, the number of requests that come in. We're usually able to turn around requests, except, if we keep getting, lately we've had several requests for information. Again, if we have the information, we're happy to look it up. If not, we have to refer it to other departments. But I guess that would just depend on how many requests are received. Right now, we're able to handle it with staff.
The videos being online, how big of a job is it to get that done?
I would need to
Is it
get.
expensive?
Yeah. Millie and I are going to meet, and I'm going to get that information from her, the vendor she uses and stuff like that.
Good.
And Ken, you might be able to provide some insight into that also, so that that could be downloaded.
We've been talking with the MIS director about that, and we'll get you some information.
Okay.
It'd be
appreciate
great
it.
to be able to do it that way.
Absolutely.
Yes. Any burden that we can take off of, out of your office, because we do not want to, withhold anything from anybody. We want to be able to get them the information that they want in a timely fashion.
Right. And also with the new software that I'm going to be putting in place with Insight, that will also allow the general public to look at. Right now, they can see agendas and journals. They'll be able to look at the actual legislation, the ordinances and resolutions, and things like that.
Okay. And then also, if we could check with the GIS system, or GIS department, to find out, to make sure that these costs are also updated, because if we're going to update this, we'd like to update the whole, all of Chapter 12. Right now, parcel maps with lines covering areas requested by customers, $5. Is that fair? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to ask Steve about that. Steve Marsh.
So maybe if we could have Steve come next
Okay.
week would be great.
Okay.
So that we can make it, and maybe make him a copy of page 6
Okay.
of Chapter 12.
Chapter 12.
Anything else for rules right now?
I have no questions.
Right now, as you can see, it's a work in progress, and we want to make sure that we don't jump the gun on anything, that we come up with the right information, and that's something that's workable. So, nothing else come before rules. We're adjourned.
Any truck? Put me out of your office. I'm going to put you out of my office tomorrow. I'm going to say, come here. I'm going to say, I told Bob.